Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading today Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading today Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, Verse 2. Thank you. 8, 2, no, 8, 3. 8, 3.2. Madeka bandhu mat sangit mat guru mat mahadana mahanishtaraka mat bhagya mad ananda namostute mat bhagya mad ananda namostute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, my companion and my teacher, O my great wealth and deliverer, O my good fortune and bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. Garantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So the chapter is called Gajendra's Prayer of Surrender. Yes. Yeah. So we just have the word by word first, so we get, maybe we can memorize a few of the words so that when we sing the verse, we have a better understanding of what we sing. Please repeat after me. Yasmin, the basic platform on which, please repeat, on which, yeah. Idam, the universe rests. Yataha, the ingredients from which, cha, and idam, the cosmic manifestation is produced. Yena, by whom? Idam, this cosmic manifestation is created and maintained. Yeah, so we have there 2 times idam, first line and second line, and they both time speaks about the cosmic manifestation. Huh? The first one is cosmic manifestation is produced, and then the second one is cosmic manifestation is created and maintained. Yaha, he who, idam, this material world. So a third idam. Is it? Idam, let us say idam. Idam. Strange, I see 3 idam in the word by word, but I find only 2 idam. Thank you, Govinda Kund. I was reading the number 3. Sorry, I was wrong as well. I was wrong. Yeah. No, I was on the wrong verse. Okay, let's try another time. Shri Gajendra Uvacha. Gajendra, the king of elephant, said, Om, O my Lord, Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tasmai, unto him. Yataha, from whom. Etat, this body and the material manifestation. Chit Atmakam is moving due to consciousness. Okay, here it's interesting. This body is moving due to consciousness. Etat, this material body, Chit Atmakam is moving due to consciousness. That will be a theme from today. Purushaya, and to the Supreme Person. Adibijaya, who is the origin or root cause of everything. Para Ishaya, who is supreme, transcendental, and worshipable for such exalted persons as Brahma and Shiva. Abhidimahi, let me meditate upon him. Shri Gajendra Uvacha, Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai, Yata etat chit atmakam, Purushaya Dipichaya, Pareshaya Vidimahi. Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai, Yata etat chit atmakam, Purushaya Dipichaya, Pareshaya Vidimahi. Please. Shri Gajendra Uvacha, Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai, Yata etat chitatmakam, Purushaya Dipichaya, Parashesa Vidimahi. Shri Gajendra Uvacha, Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai, Yata etat chitatmakam, Purushaya Dipichaya, Parashaya Vidimahi. Thank you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king, so this is we just started this chapter of the prayers of Gajendra. He had been fighting for a long time with the crocodile. And at the end of the previous chapter, Gajendra became thoughtful. After years and years of fight with the elephants, start to think. And his thought was actually no one else can defend me. Not even my friend or my wife's elephant. And then he started to take shelter of the Lord. And now this chapter, he's offering prayer, which is quite amazing because he's still in the grip of the crocodile is not dead yet. So the crocodile is chewing on his leg, and he is now offering prayers in this situation. Usually we need like a peaceful place to offer prayer, but to offer prayer when someone is killing you, it's quite amazing, actually quite amazing to see how is that happening. So this is one of the prayer that he's reciting. The king of the elephants, Gajendra, said, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Person, Vasudev, in bracket, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Because of him, this material body acts due to the presence of spirit, and he is therefore the root cause of everyone. He is worshipable for such exalted person as Brahma and Shiva, and he has entered the heart of every living entity. Let me meditate upon him. Purport. In this verse, the word etat chit atmakam are very important. The material body certainly consists of only of material elements, but when one awakens to Krishna consciousness understanding, the body is no longer material but spiritual. The material body is meant for sense enjoyment, whereas the spiritual body engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And I found very, very nice sentence. And the material body is meant for sense enjoyment, and the spiritual body is meant for giving pleasure to Krishna, for serving and pleasing the Lord. Therefore, a devotee who engages in the service of the Supreme Lord and who constantly thinks of him should never be considered to have a material body. It is therefore enjoined, Gurusha Naramati. One should stop thinking of the spiritual master as an ordinary human being with a material body. Arche Vishnu Shila Didaha. Everyone knows that the deity in the temple is made of stone, but to think that the deity is merely stone is an offense. Similarly, to think that the body of the spiritual master consists of material ingredients is offensive. Atheists think that devotees foolishly worship a stone statue as God and an ordinary man as the Guru. The fact is, however, that by the grace of Krishna's omnipotence, the so-called stone statue of the deity is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the body of the spiritual master is directly a pure devotee who is directly spiritual. A pure devotee who is engaged in unalloyed devotional service should be understood to be situated on the transcendental platform. Sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Let us therefore offer our obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose mercy so-called material things also become spiritual when they are engaged in spiritual activity. It's very nice. Prabhupada is writing the purport and is ending the paragraph by giving instruction. Let us all therefore offer our obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can feel the mood of Prabhupada. He's explaining the purport, explaining what is happening, and then he must get like a boost of loving feelings that then let us all worship this Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he writes one more paragraph. Omkara, pranava, is the symbolic sound representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmanas trividas mritaha. The three words Om Tat Sat immediately invoke the Supreme Person. Therefore, Krishna says that he is the Omkara in all the Vedic mantras, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. The Vedic mantras are pronounced beginning with Omkara to indicate immediately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam, for example, begins with the words Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There is no difference between the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, and Omkara, Pranava. We should be careful to understand that Omkara does not indicate anything nikara or formless. Indeed, this verse immediately says Om Namo Bhagavate. Bhagavan is a person. Thus, Omkara is the representation of the Supreme Person. Omkara is not meant to be impersonal, as the Mayavadi philosopher consider it to be. This is distinctly expressed here by the words Purushaya. The supreme truth addressed by Omkara is Purusha, the Supreme Person. He is not impersonal. Unless he is a person, how can he control the great stalwart controllers of this universe? Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva are supreme controllers of this universe, but Lord Vishnu is offered obeisances even by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Therefore, this verse uses the words Pareshaya, which indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by exalted demigods. Pareshaya means Parameshvara. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are Ishvaras, great controllers, but Lord Vishnu is Parameshvara, the supreme controller. The verse again, the king of the elephant Gajendra said, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Person, Vasudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Because of him, this material body acts to the presence of spirit, and he is therefore the root cause of everyone. He is worshipable for such exalted person as Brahma and Shiva, and he has entered the heart of every living being. Thus, let me meditate upon him. If you want, you can join me with prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambujo Radha Madan Mohano Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes. Therefore, I offer him my most humble obeisances. So I like to ask for your blessings and good wishes that I may be able to deliver this lecture, maybe eventually empowered or used as an instrument for every one of us upliftment in our Krishna consciousness. So this is actually a very nice verse, very beautiful verse of Gajendra. So there are many different points in this verse. The first verse, let's see, anyone remember any of the steps of this verse? What he's doing first? Okay. What? First he offers his obeisances. Huh? Let me offer my humble obeisances. First he offers his obeisances, and then he says few things in his prayer. Anyone remember maybe one of the things he's saying in the... Yeah, it's not easy. Yes? Mm-hmm. Hmm? No, this is not. Okay. It's amazing how our span of attention is limited. I mean, I read it 2 times the verse, and I'm sure if I would be sitting in the audience, I will not be able to know. But how things can just slip out of our consciousness. So, because I prepared the lecture, I remember some of the things. One is, he said that actually, because you are inside of the body of the living entities, the bodies are able to move. For the rest, they will be dead matter. He said that you are glorified by Shiva, Brahma, and all the demigods. They glorify you. And he says also you have entered into the heart of all living entities. And he said the body acts because of the presence of spirit. And there is Atma and Paramatma, and Atma is a particle of Paramatma. So this both Atma and Paramatma is the spirit that make actually the body move. So he's reflecting on that. He's quite philosophical actually. according to the situation in which he is with the crocodile, is very philosophical. And he starts by, the human body or any body can move only because of the presence of spirit inside. And therefore, you're the root cause of everything. And that's how he mentioned it to the verse. You are worshipable by the demigods. You enter in the heart of all living entity. And he ends with something very nice. Let me meditate on you. Like, allow me. Let me. I want to do it. Let me do it. It can be like self-motivation. Let me now do it. Or allow me to do it. Allow me now to meditate upon you. So today I try to extract the principle from the verse, but here I want to extract instruction from this verse, which is one should meditate on the Lord's presence in our life, how the Lord is there. It should be a meditation, how He is there in the heart of all living entity, how because of Him we are actually able to do anything, otherwise our body would be just dead, they will not be able to do anything. So I hope that today in lecture we will increase our awareness of Krishna's presence in our life. We will see how to increase Krishna meditation. We'll see what is the result of such a meditation and how to enter into such a meditation. Many years ago, it must have been 2001, 2000, I was visiting Munich temple for some weeks, and I was on book distribution. And when we came back from book distribution, we decided to stop. There was a Buddhist temple in the close by to the temple in Munich. So we went to the Buddhist temple with my Sankirtan companion, and we were watching them, and they were all sitting in silence. They seemed to be very, very deeply absorbed in what they were doing, and so we just watched and appreciated their meditation. And then we went to the temple, and then was Gaurahari. And we were there, Jayo, Jaya, Gaurachandre, brum, brum, and I was thinking, I felt a little uncomfortable with our Gaurahari. I felt maybe I should become a Buddhist. It seems they are much more absorbed in what they do. The way of doing our Gaurahari, mind is everywhere around, who is there around, how we play the beats, and so many things can come into our mind. But then I understood, no, actually it's much nicer to glorify the Lord and to think of the Lord. But I thought we should do it really in a meditation mood. We should be knowing what we think. We should be really aware we are now glorifying the Lord. It should not just be a show or a play or just external activity. And I think this is really something that is appealing to my spiritual life, of actually leaving the externals and going to the essence of Krishna consciousness, which is very, very much connected to the meditation part of Krishna consciousness. So when I prepared the lecture, I did not have much time, but I thought actually here I can make a seminar out of it. There are just so many points and so many important things to say about meditation in Krishna consciousness. So first of all, when we come to meditation in the Yoga Sutra, it is mentioned different steps. Yam, niyam. First, you know the things that you should not do in life, things that you should do, and then pranayam, and then it goes. I will need to research, but there is one is pratyahara. You bring the mind back anytime it moves away. Then there is dharana, when you can keep the mind. You don't only bring the mind back, but you keep the mind on the object of the meditation at least 12 seconds, and that becomes dharana. And then after that becomes dhyana, which should be meditation, which should be like around 20 minutes of absorption on the topic, which is looks like far away, even in our japa time, when we don't have anything else to do than to meditate on Krishna's name. Sometimes if we make one mantra, which is maybe 4 seconds or something like this, we can really feel very proud of our achievements. So meditation, in one sense, seems to be very, very far away. But my reflection on that is, especially as the day goes by, as we are doing things, as we are moving in this world, at least to bring remembrance, at least to bring remembrance of thoughts in our mind of the essential principles of Krishna consciousness as often as possible, even if we cannot meditate on it, at least to bring this memory of who we are, of what we are actually supposed to do. And if we go seriously on this path, one day it will be meditation. As we do all of our activity, we are constantly aware that we do that for the pleasure of the Lord, that we are spiritual soul, so on and so forth. But that, even though it seems to be very far away, the beginning point is actually by bringing remembrance, by remembering those aspects. So one object of the meditation that is here in the verse is that Krishna is always with us, and He's also there in our heart. And just recently we had a Sangamela festival here in Golokadam with His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, and in his welcome talk, Maharaj was speaking about that. And here I found it, he's saying, "My dear devotees, if you would only know who sits beside you, who walks beside you, who is always with you at every moment, there will be no fear." And because in the lecture he repeats 2 times, I will dare to repeat it another time. My dear devotees, if you would only know who sits beside you, who walks beside you, who is always with you at every moment, there will be no fear. And in Bhagavad Gita 1858, Krishna speaks actually this is the purport. Prabhupada writes, for one who thinks of Krishna, what is happening? He says, for one who acts in Krishna consciousness, means he's conscious of Krishna, and thinks of Krishna, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friends' comfort, and he gives himself to his friends, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. So when we are thinking of the Lord, when you are Krishna conscious, Krishna is actually attracted to us. He thinks, oh, here is my friend. Krishna thinks, Govinda Kund is my friend. He's thinking of me. He's trying to serve me with love and devotion. And I will look for his comfort. I will look that everything is fine. And I will not only do that, I will give myself to him. That's how the Lord thinks. So when Maharaj was speaking about that, I'm usually doing service of MC. So after the lecture, I have to say a few words. And I was reflecting how powerful it will be, how our spiritual life will be if we'll be all the time aware that Krishna is there with us. He's all the time next to us. And he wants this relationship with us. It's our spirit. Of course, there will be no fear, but there will be so much love and so much happiness into our service to have this relationship, this constant remembrance that Krishna is with us all the time. And I thought actually this is something we should remind each other as devotees, that the Lord is actually with us at any moment. Another meditation, so that was the first meditation. Krishna is always with us. Krishna is in our heart. Another meditation that is very, very, very powerful and very, very nice and very important. I am an eternal servant of the Lord. Prabhupada will say this is the beginning of bhakti. When you are aware of your spiritual identity, then you can enter into the realm of bhakti yoga. And therefore, actually, especially when we do spiritual practices, chanting japa, the pujari, when they go on the altar, they have to chant mantras that remind them that they are actually spiritual souls, that they are actually not this body. Before they start their service, japa is the same. You start by letting go of all what is connected to this material body, because all the thoughts, all the desires, they are actually rooted on this point of identification. So as long as we think we are the body, we are actually just flooded with material desire, material thoughts. But when we make the effort to meditate that we are spiritual souls, then the root actually of the spiritual identity or the desire is, I want to please the Lord. I want to be with the Lord. So when this switch of identity is done in our spiritual practice, then we have very good ground to do it in a mood of bhakti. But if this is not there and the identification is on the material level, we'll be flooded by material desires, material anxieties, and everything will be rooted on that. We externally do our practice, but internally we are fully in the material platform. So this is a very, very powerful meditation that we actually should do at least before our spiritual practice, but we can also do it anytime during the day. There are so many times during the day that that we don't need our mind or our concentration so strong. Let's say you move now from here up to the ashram. You don't need to put much effort on which feet I use now, how I step, and like this. It just goes natural. So in those moments, actually, we could use that to remember Krishna, to remember I'm eternal soul. And there is this is in the 11th canto, in the teaching of I don't remember now the names. There are 7. Those are the prayers of Hamsa Avatar. He gave a very nice observation. He said, if one remembers that he is of the same nature as the Lord, then all the grip of the material nature are released. And sometimes I used to do, especially when I study this verse, as you do activities during the day, you remember I'm the same nature of the Lord. I'm also fully spiritual, fully transcendental. And you can feel, even if you are a little tense or you are worried or you are lazy or like this, just to remember that, it breaks the grasp of the modes of material nature, and you immediately feel a burst of enthusiasm actually to serve the Lord and be with the Lord. And it just makes total switch, just to remember for a little while, I am the same quality of my Lord. I'm I'm a spiritual being. And if we do that during our spiritual practice, then it will pervade actually during the day. Like I'm sometimes giving japa inspiration, and we have one inspiration that every time the mind goes away, you bring it back by remembering, I am an eternal servant of the Lord. And my service now is to chant the holy name and to hear. And then anytime it goes away, I'm an eternal servant of the Lord, and my service now is to hear the holy name. And when you do that, sometimes, you don't make one mantra that the mind is already gone. So you have to repeat it a lot of time. And I notice when I do, during the day, so often, I remember I'm eternal spiritual soul. I have nothing actually to do with this material body. So when we do it nicely in the spiritual practice, it will pervade actually during the day. There are many different practices of meditation. One friend of me, Ratna Bhushana Prabhu, is a psychological counselor. He had done like very deep studies of psychology, and he uses psychology in helping devotee to succeed spiritually. And he has a meditation, is reflective meditation. It's like you take a topic of Krishna consciousness and you reflect about it. You think about it. Like, for example, if you have to give lecture, you instead of immediately searching everywhere, you write the topic down and then you just reflect. What does it mean to me? Who was doing this or that? Which sage did the same that it is written here? You just reflect on a particular topic. You just write down, and if you are in Krishna consciousness in some years, you almost have your lecture done. You just first you research your data, whatever you know in Krishna consciousness, and bring the things together. It's one type of meditation. And I think this is actually so much missing, that we actually deeply reflect on the topics that we are reading, the topics that we hear in Bhagavatam lecture. How much do I actually reflect on it and discuss with other devotees, maybe at the time of the breakfast? And so this is also like in the domain of meditation. We are keeping our consciousness in a longer amount of time into the scriptures. And the last meditation I want to bring for today is meditating on Krishna's pastime. That is often seen as a taboo in no, don't meditate on Krishna's pastime. But actually we are supposed to meditate on Krishna's pastimes. If Krishna seems to be too far away, or we feel uncomfortable, we can meditate on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. It's very safe, very good, what Mahaprabhu did, how he felt in such circumstance. We pick up the emotions, we meditate, how he must have felt, how must have been for this associate to see the Lord rolling like this on the ground. If I will see the Lord rolling on the ground like this, how will I feel? Will my heart be touched? Reflecting and meditating, trying to see, because all those descriptions are given for us to see in our consciousness. So to see actually those descriptions of Krishna in our consciousness, and take the time to meditate on it and to look at them in our own consciousness. In Bhagavatam 11:15-32, Jiva Goswami comments that one must meditate on the transcendental form of the Lord, which is free from any material designation. This is the essence of advancing in yoga system, to meditate on the form of the Lord. Thus one acquires all mystic perfection very easily from the personal body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Bhagavad Gita, there are so many quotes when Krishna has shown his universal form to Arjuna, and Arjuna is bewildered, and then Arjuna says, "Oh, please show me the form of 4 arms," and then he said, please show me, take 2 arms, gone away. I want to see you at the original form. I'm used to deal with you or to interact with you, the form with 2 arms. And there actually there are quotes that actually this is the form of Krishna we should meditate upon. And I think here in the last ending verses of Bhagavad Gita, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto, 1865, in the purport Prabhupada stressed this point. He said, concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the dear friend of Krishna. And a little bit later he said, those words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with 2 hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feather in his hair. So Prabhupada just give us, say you have to meditate on the form of the Lord, and then he give the how this face of the Lord is, or carrying the flute, bluish boy with beautiful face and peacock feather in his hair. That's what we are supposed to do, to meditate on the form of the Lord. Those are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literature. One should fix his mind on the original form of Godhead Krishna. There are also meditation that we call open eye meditation. There are meditation that we do when we do our sadhana, when we do our chanting or reflecting or thinking, but there are also meditation that we do when we go on through the day. And I try every morning when I wake up to memorize 1 verse and to keep the verse with me and to try to remember it during the day as my open eye meditation. And they are very, very beautiful verses, and it gives actually a lot of inner strength to remember those verses. There is one that I mean, I don't manage every day to learn it fully, so sometimes I keep the verse for 2-3 days until I really get it. But that's a verse from Vrindavan Mahimamrita. Yes? Open eye meditation, you mean? Yeah, it's actually the title of a book from Shubha Vilas, Open Eye Meditation. That means it's meditation that you don't do just you meditate, but as you act or as you interact with the world, you are in meditation. So it's open eye meditation. In this meditation, you try to read a verse? I mean, what I do, for example, I try to memorize a verse, and as I go through my day, I recall the verse and I meditate on that verse, especially when we do those activities that do not demand much of our attention. If you are a computer engineer and you have to be behind the laptop, then you need your full attention. You cannot meditate with open eyes. But there are so many times during the day when we do things that do not demand so much of our mental power, and those moments can be this open eye meditation. And Vajanti. Oh, okay. And he was also explaining like also it's like we also go through the day. We see beyond the things that happen, we're reflecting. Mm-hmm. So this is also open eye meditation. So we learn so much by seeing what is beyond it. Like I don't know, you see a pen, you can say, okay, I need to keep a cool head. Just see beyond the things. Mm-hmm. So this is also very connected with the scriptures. Mm-hmm. So what we learn in the scriptures, we can see mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. So it's more clear like this. I did not read since long time this book, but I liked very much this term open eye meditation, but that make more sense. Okay, there is even this meditation in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said that the soul is inside of the body, like sitting on a machine, and direct the soul, the super soul. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entity who are seated on a machine made of material energy. So that's also a meditation we can do, that we are actually not moving, we are actually not acting, we are inside of the body and we give the order to the body to move or to do this and that. That's also type of, I also like to call them as open eye meditation. Okay, so I think we'll come slowly to the end. Time is running, but I think, at least for me, if I feel that to advance deeper in Krishna consciousness, I have to develop much more these reflective parts of Krishna consciousness and this meditation, so that it goes more into absorption. It doesn't remain a superficial, external rituals that we do in Krishna consciousness, but it's something really felt inside of the heart, experienced, that it touches actually the realm of feelings. Okay, so I still had a result of those meditations that I wanted to shortly talk, because in the purport of this word, Prabhupada speaks actually about what is happening when we have this vision or this meditation. And Prabhupada writes some nice points. He said, by awakening the spiritual understanding of Krishna consciousness, the body becomes spiritual. And we can see actually for great devotees, when we are close to them, we can feel that they have strong energy, spiritual energy coming close to them. I think in one Ratha Yatra, the policemen got totally amazed, and they went to Prabhupada and said, Mister, do you know that you shine? They were seeing he's shining. So the body of advanced devotees actually transformed into spiritual energy. And Prabhupada take quite a good amount of purport to mention about these points, that like we should not see the deity just as a stone, but know that here is the Supreme Personality of God. That we have the same way to know that the spiritual master or the advanced devotees, their body are not material, they are spiritual. So with this meditation, actually the body becomes spiritual. Then Prabhupada writes, the material body, that's this sentence I think I will keep for me, for today. The material body is made for sense enjoyment, which is quite natural. Huh? There are so many urges inside of us pushing us to enjoy the senses. So that's for what the body is meant. But the spiritual body is meant for engaging in the transcendental service, loving service of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee who engages in the service of the Supreme Lord, who constantly thinks of Him, should never be considered to have a material body, Prabhupada writes. Okay. So when we have those meditation or when we go in depth in Krishna consciousness, then our body becomes also immune to the material world. We do not feel anymore much attraction to the material world because inside of us we have found taste, we have found attraction to Krishna consciousness. Okay, yeah, we still have a little time. This is one verse from 10th Canto in the story of Sudamvipra, 10th Canto 8140. Thus, seeing how the unconquerable Supreme Lord is nonetheless conquered by his own servant, the Lord's dear Brahmana friend, Sudamvipra, felt the remaining knot of material attachment within his heart being cut by the force of his constant meditation on the Lord. In a short time, he attains Lord Krishna's supreme abode, the destination of the great saints. So because of his meditation, the knot of material attachment within his heart became cut by force. And it's interesting because what was the attachment of Sudamvipra? He was so renounced. Huh? He had nothing. So what was his material attachment?
He was attached to his poor, that he was thinking all the time, I'm poor.
Yeah, he was attached also to doing austerity or being an austere person. And then now he had to let go because he got a palace from Krishna. But I mean, the main point is by this meditation, actually, the knot of material life became cut in his heart. And then the last point I wanted to make, how to do it, how to do those meditation. I mean, one point I already mentioned, that we try at least the moments during our day that we are not busy thinking or that we don't have to use our intelligence or our mind too much, to use those times to meditate on Krishna. Another one was to actually enter into this realm of meditation during our spiritual practice, because that's what we are supposed to be meditating on the holy name, for example. When we chant the holy name, it should be the space created just for that. When we do our spiritual practice, the whole aim is that we dive into absorption into that. That's why we do it, which is not an easy thing. So I don't want to give the impression I'm able to do it better than others. It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. But the last point I want to make, and that's the last sentence of the verse, let us meditate. Let me meditate upon him. That means take a serious sankalpa, or a serious, how you say, decision. Let me meditate upon the Lord. I'm convinced that this is what I'm supposed to do after so many years of Krishna consciousness. I'm supposed to go deep, so I have to go into this realm of meditation. So a constant, or let's say a firm decision from our side. This is what I want to do, and we can interpret let me meditate on Him in the sense of allow me, my Lord, let me meditate upon you. Allow me to meditate upon you, which is mostly the most important things we should do, to pray and to ask the Lord for the blessings that we can do that. I mean, most of the lecture was based on what we can do, this meditation, that meditation, but ultimately they are always the two fingers too short. There is our endeavor part, and there is the part of the mercy of the Lord. And I mean, when we do the endeavor, the Lord will help for sure. But we have to ask for help. We have to. I remember one Kartik Vrata where I was really trying hard. I was chanting, concentrate on the first Hare and then the second Krishna and then the third Rama, and really trying, and just could not make it. Then I understood I need permission. I cannot crash it through. I cannot just go with all my willpower. I need permission. I need to be in a humble state. I need to ask for it. And that's often something the point that we miss, to actually beg and ask and nourish the desire. I would like to meditate on the Lord. I would like to remember His beautiful form with beautiful face and bluish and holding the flutes and peacock feather. I would like, no doubt that. So I try, but my dear Lord, please allow me to do that. What to speak of the darshan? We see the deities, and then we go during the day. Do we remember the deities? Do we meditate upon their form? What jewels they had, at least what color of outfit they had, how the turban was beautifully put, it all like this. This is also meant for meditation. Krishna is in front of us, so that we take him, we make a screenshot in our consciousness, and then we review it during the day. Okay, last quote that very, very nice is how when we try to meditate on Krishna, Krishna sees us, say, oh, he's trying to meditate upon me. Okay, I will help him. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj said that when we try to meditate on the Lord, what we see in the consciousness is a very, very blur image, a little bluish, but we don't see much detail when we try to meditate, because our consciousness is not so pure. But when Krishna sees that we are trying, he comes in this blur form to interact with us. That's what Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was saying. But here the verse is 1087 to purport. So this is the BBT editor writing. Or because Prabhupada was already gone from this world at that time of the Bhagavatam. Although the neophyte devotee have not yet learned how to fully realize the Lord or meditate steadily on even the effulgence surrounding the body, even the effulgence is trying, but it is not able yet. Still, let me read again. Although the neophyte devotee have not yet learned how to fully realize the Lord or meditate steadily on even the effulgence surrounding Krishna's body, still they take pleasure in presuming we are meditating on the Lord. So they try, and even though it's difficult, they feel pleasure. Oh, I'm meditating upon the Lord. And the Supreme Lord, moved by the waves of His boundless mercy, Himself thinks, those devotees are meditating on me. When their devotion matures, He draws them to His feet to engage in His intimate service. As they keep going in the meditation and the meditation become intense, Krishna just draw them to His lotus feet to engage in His intimate service. So that was for today. I'm sorry, maybe I was pouring information on you like anything. Maybe you got a full overdose this morning, but this is a topic that I really feel inspired by. And we were seeing the instruction that we get today is that one should meditate on the Lord's presence in our life, and that's what Gajendra is doing. He's in the middle of the fight and he's meditating. Oh, all people can move only because you are inside. Therefore, you are the source of everything. That's a meditation. He's like deeply contemplating. And I hoped by this lecture we get a little bit more desire to enter this contemplative stage of Krishna consciousness. We were seeing how out of Krishna meditation, I'm the soul, Krishna is there in my life, he is close to me, he is next to me. That's were some of them. And I'm eternal servant of the Lord. during spiritual practice, that we at least reflect that we are spiritual parts and parcels of the Lord, and also during our activities. And we saw the result of those meditation, cut the bondage of material nature and attracts the Lord. The Lord sees and wants to help us. And yeah, how to do it anytime we can, making effort and praying for it. Most important maybe of the whole lecture, that we pray for it. Otherwise, it's very difficult on our own to do that. I know it's a little bit far away from us to meditate, especially when we know that the meditation comes when you keep the object of your meditation 20 minutes in your mind. Okay, I'm still far, but we start by bringing remembrance as often as possible of who is the Lord, who we are, and what is our relationship with Him. So, thank you for attending, going through with me through the lecture, and I don't know if you have any questions, any comments, or anything, or reflections maybe to. Govinda Kunt.
We have some focus when we meditate, when we chant, or we try to develop some focus. But sometimes when we are during the day, we do our duties, our normal stuffs, our service. Sometimes we become quite unaware about Krishna, or maybe even in circumstances. I mean, in a temple, we are secured. We know we do something for Krishna, so this is also kind of meditation. But sometimes when some of us, maybe they work, they face all the material modes of nature within all these people around that are not very close to Krishna often. Then we may lose a little bit our focus, or we do not really feel connected with Krishna. What can we do to overcome this disadvantage, or this
forgetfulness?
Mind, how to say, everywhere, but not with Krishna. So
There are so many diversions. Our mind is just constantly bombarded by so many diversions. And even living in the temple, okay, indirectly everything is for Krishna because we are in His house and whatever, so it's already, but how often do we remember, oh, I will do this activity now for pleasing Him? Even when we do our offerings of Bhoga, now I took the habit, when I do offering of Bhoga, I do the prayer, I ring the bell, but after I say, my dear Lord, please accept it, please enjoy this meal, it is for your pleasure. Often we just mantra and then go and continue doing our things, and we don't even meditate. My Lord is for you, please accept it. So and that's the essence of bhakti. So often we miss actually the whole point of bhakti, and maybe if 1 or 2 times a day we remember to do it with love and devotion, it's already great. So in one sense, it shows us, I mean, it shows me how much in the beginning I am in Krishna consciousness, and how much actually I need to wake up. I mean, I'm getting older as well, and I want to think of Krishna all the time. So I'm really, really far away. I cannot now just be complacent with that. I have to really do something about it. So one thing for sure, in connection to the depth of your spiritual practice, this will pervade your day. So if when you have a good chanting in the morning, you will carry that with you. And actually all our spiritual practice, when we finish it, we should feel the difference. then when we started it, we should feel, oh, my consciousness has raised. I did not that it's just exactly the same like before. Then we know I did not get much out of it. But I think when one develops this desire, which comes mainly by association with devotees who have this desire, you just don't want to keep forgetting the Lord. There is, my Guru Maharaj was giving a lecture when he said one should cry at any moment that actually I had forgotten the Lord. When one remembers, oh, I had forgotten my Lord. Oh, so feel sorry, I'm forgetting my Lord. And the servant of Maharaj was telling us when they came here they were chanting japa, and he was all the time telling him, did you forget the Lord? Did you forget the Lord? How do you feel? You feel it's okay? You cannot do that. It's not polite. You chant his name. You have to be. He was really hammering the servant. Actually, when they came here, I saw the servant was shining like anything. It seems to be just so happy and so enlivened. So mainly with the association of devotees who actually want to get to the point of thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day. And there is a beautiful purport. Therefore, it could be a seminar. I have it here also on the notes. Also on the 1865, Prabhupada said we should arrange our life. Our entire life should be arranged that we will all the time remember Krishna. This is what we are supposed to do. So I guess the first step is really to get to this understanding. This is what not only what I'm supposed to do, but what I want to do. Because when I remember Krishna and think of him, it's wonderful. I feel happy. The nut is material existence is cut, and so that's what I would say. Association with devotees who are eager to remember the Lord, that will give you also the come on, well, let me wake up now and let me do something or pray, or that I should remember the Lord now. Cannot go on like this. It's okay. Prabhuji, any?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice lecture. We see that for me, I mean, like when we hear lectures like you said, we get motivated, but after some time or some days, it gets like casual. How to keep up that motivation that we carry from the lecture or from the temple, that we carry on this inspiration, like for example, to meditate during chanting or during the day. Because after some time it becomes casual. No?
Therefore, it's all based on the association. When you come in the association of devotee festival or temple or like this, usually you get, oh yeah, you hear, you get enthusiasm. But then when you lose the association, or when you have less of association, you are just naturally drawn back towards material consciousness, which is the purpose of this world, is keeping us in material consciousness. So you have to keep a good association with devotees. And association also, they are often we think is just being in proximity with them. Association is really listening, hearing from them, contemplating, reflecting, of course also to serve them, to be close to them, and like this is also there. But when when we are far from devotee and we live away from devotee, listen some lectures of devotees that are really inspiring you. Maybe even if it's 20 minutes, just sit down, you listen, you carefully, you take some note, you reflect about it, you speak maybe with your wife or with other friends about what you discover, what you heard, and things like this. This is the Sangha that keeps you alive. It's mainly going through Shravanam, through hearing from the devotees who have this eagerness, who have this desire for going back home and becoming fully Krishna conscious and never forget him, and so on and so forth.
Can I ask one more question? Like we heard that about the soul and super soul, this body is dead. So I also heard that the soul gets its power, its energy from the super soul, and because of that, the soul functions in the body. Is it that the soul gets all its energy or consciousness from the super soul, or the soul also has its own energy? without the help of super soul, like it on its own, it also functions.
I think the point is that the soul is a part of the super soul, so it has the same qualities, and in that sense it doesn't need to receive it, because he is the same. He has the same quality, like the drop of water and the ocean. It has the same quality. It's just a part of it. So it's not that the drop need to receive energy from the ocean to be the drop. It's just part of it. So just because we are of the same quality of the Lord. But of course, in one sense, here Gajendra also said that because you are because you are this spirit, you are the root cause of everything. So of course, everything starts and comes from the Supreme Lord, the origin. But I don't think that the Super Soul have to infuse. I think it's just because we are the same, we are of the same quality, that we naturally inherit the qualities of the Lord, being His part. Of course, we need to be empowered, we need to be guided, there's a lot of relationship between the soul and the super soul inside of the body, and that's a big other topic. But I would, with my understanding, I will feel it like this. That's a little bit technical, and I'm not so good in technical issue. You might like to ask also some devotees who are very good in technicalities of Krishna consciousness. They might give you a better answer. Mm. Okay, sorry, I kept you long today. I felt a little, when you speak a topic you like, you just cannot stop. I was getting notes, and then I thought, yeah, here I can definitely prepare a seminar on the all things. We could go deeper in all of those type of meditations. Okay, thank you. Kanantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes, please. Gaurahari. Ooh. Yeah, it's a nice topic.